Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell. Lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and I'm here with Lee Cockerell. How are you doing today, Lee?
Very good, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Well, Lee, we have what I think is going to be a fun topic. Let me start by mentioning our friends at Magical Vacation Planner, as I always do. I saw them talking about, or on social media, they were posting a trip that I thought, oh my goodness, this sounds wonderful. It was a national park trip, a tour by railroad, where you just get on a train and then from train to national park, like everything was taken care of. It sounded fabulous. You know, I love the national parks. So they can do big trips like that too. You can call them at 407-442-2694. All right, Lee, what I want to talk about, you have at one Creating Magic Mastermind, you gave a monologue. So let me back up. At the start of every Creating Magic Mastermind, Lee usually gives a monologue about something that kind of sets the tone for the whole event. Lee, one time you talked about the big red curtain, that it opens every morning, you're putting on a show. And I'm just fascinated by that. To think of, if you're a corner drugstore, instead of just opening your door, to think, no, this is when that door opens, it's a big red curtain. That's what I want to talk about. That idea of unlocking the door, opening it, that's the big red curtain pulling aside.
Yeah, it's true, and I don't know where I thought about that, but I always thought about. I think originally it was the actors are really important, but so is the guy that opens the curtain, you know, or the people who put the props out, or who make sure the sound system's working, and the lighting, and the music, and all the people we never see. So when I was doing that, and I did it for a group in Australia. Actually, I developed a kind of a script like that, and I put a picture of a big red curtain, and kind of, are you ready? Have you got the right players? Do you know what story you want to tell? What's it going to entail? Do you know what props you're going to use? How long it's going to last? What's the intermission? How many acts are there? And so that every day when you open your drugstore or any store, that it's just going to be one of those hit shows. Anybody who comes on any day, if you're open 7 days a week, you run a hit show every day, every week, and every day, and might be even fun for people to put a big red curtain and pull it at the front of the drugstore and say, things like that are kind of to send the message. We're open, we're ready. We're going to have a great performance today, and I think the key here though is people accepting this concept, any business accepting the concept we're talking about right now and take it seriously. It's not something just for Disney, or it's not just something for Lee happen to talk about. It's real. And we talked about that earlier today with another group. It's real. And once you have the concept in place that I'm putting on a show, then you begin to think differently. I'm putting on a show, and it can be a hospital, it could be a coffee shop, it could be an airline, it could be anything you can imagine. Your dry cleaners, uh, really anything. We're putting on a show, and the show is that we want, not that we want are being showy. What we're being is consistent and excellent, and everything matters. I think that's what, when you put on a great show, everything matters, from the lighting to the sound. Does the curtain open on time? When you take intermission, is the snack bar running really well? Are the bathrooms clean? When they come into the show, are people seating you properly? And everything related. Everything related. The timing is right. All the people on the stage, which are your employees, know their role. They know what they can do, can't do. They know their role in the show. They know what they can say, what they shouldn't say. They have a script. Doesn't have to be firm skip, but a general, here's the way we want you to be hospitable. We want you to go to the customer. We want you to giving them direction on how to perform their role in the show. And so it's just, I think about it and just think about some of the places you walk into that don't understand this concept. You get there, uh, they're open at 8 o'clock. They don't unlock the door till 8:20. Everybody's late to work. The show's starting late. People have been sitting out in the car waiting. The show starts, and then they can't find your laundry, and the tickets are not lined up right, and the dry cleaner, and the coffee machine's broken in the coffee place, and the bathroom's dirty, and the curtain opened, but the show was not ready. Everybody had not created the right. There had never. Everybody had not done their job to make sure, and so much of a great show, if not most, is backstage. The director, the script, the lighting, the sound, the props, timing, costumes, dressing rooms. Uh, just when you think about it, everything matters. And so that's what this concept's about. So I guess I can't think of a business you couldn't do it in. And even if you're not indoors and you're doing something outside, think about the concept. When you get to the We just had some people here, by the way, about an hour ago. They cleaned all our windows in the house. They said they'd be here at 1 o'clock. At 5 minutes to one, they said they were arriving. They would be here in a few more minutes. They had three people. One guy came in, two worked on the inside, some of the rooms. The other guys working outside. They have a special solution that you don't have to wipe off. You just put it on and clean the window, and it dries clear. You don't have to do any of that smearing. And it was amazing. And they weren't in any room. They were in our place, and they visualized, I guess, when they got to my front door, the curtain opened, and they all performed. I mean, they were dressed properly. They had nice uniforms on. They had all the right equipment. Man, it was like they were productive. They whipped through that baby. And there you go. Good show, and we will go see their show again. And Priscilla will call them again to come and do this at some period down the road. And it could have been different. Maybe the curtain wouldn't have opened, and they'd done a crappy job, and the smear, all of that, and had a bad attitude. But the head guy was amazing. Priscilla said he was so good, so focused, and so that's it. We're not calling anybody else next time the windows are dirty. So it's just it's anywhere. The curtain is there. It's going to open, and so yeah, that's how I think about it.
I know sometimes, Lee, you will hear people say, "Well, that whole magic concept works for Disney because you've got big budget, you've got big staff. But things like this concept, the big red curtain, that doesn't take any more money. It doesn't take any more staff. You have everything you need to start doing this right now."
Same old story, good attitude and reliability. I mean, and quality work. I mean, I got clean windows now. They were on time, and they all had a wonderful attitude. Two young guys inside, and one was the older guy, and there was, I can't think of one thing that I would be unhappy about it. And isn't that nice not to have a hassle? That you call somebody and they actually show up, do it, and do a perfect job and leave. I mean, it's like, what? And this is probably the formula people need to be thinking about, because we know people say, well, there's internet and people are from, and I can't advertise. Be great. That may be your best thing. Be great. And great is figuring out every angle. And I thought today they called right. They made sure we understood that they were going to be here exactly on time. They all had the little shoe booties on. They all, and, we talk about this every week, and you still go out in the world and there's a bunch of people that don't get it. And good attitude, reliability, and quality work, you're home free. You'll do business, and you'll stay in business, and you won't get laid off probably.
Well, as Lee tells the story of the window cleaners, It sounds great. The show started on time. Everyone performed their role in the show. They knew their script. They knew their costume, their outfit. They wore it. They knew their product. They knew how they wanted the audience, in this case Lee and Priscilla, to feel. It sounds like they understood they were putting on a show, and as soon as Lee Cockerell's front door opened, the show began. This is a great example, Lee. I'm glad you brought them up.
It is, and they also had this special duster that they dust with. You can dust a fan, and the dust does not fall down. It collects in the duster. Nothing comes out of it. And they showed it to Priscilla, and she ordered a bunch of them on Amazon while they were here. So, we got a treat. Also, we learned about a special product that'll make our cleaner people getting the dust out of your house. Yeah.
Lee, if this is the first time we've heard of the concept of the big red curtain, how do we begin? Where do we start to say, okay, Lee's sold me on this, the big red curtain, we're going to open it every morning. Where do we start on getting our ideas together and implementing it?
Well, if you're creative, you can sit down and write it yourself, the scripts and the parts, and then you got to do training. But if you're not, get your team in a room, tell them about this concept. Here's what we want to do. And here, guys, let's start out with whatever it is, advertising, our phone number, our a website, what it says, how are we going to handle contacting the customer, and if we're going to be late, how are we going to let them know, and how are we going to, and today, so many companies have that where you can look on your phone and see where they are. They're about 30 minutes away, 20 minutes. I mean, they're using technology to take the pain away from a customer wondering whether anybody's going to show up or not, late and on time. So I would say you could just get in a room and do it. You write up your little, how do you want your business to be perceived? And at every step, including when things go wrong, how do you handle that? What do you do? Well, if this happens, we're going to apologize and we're going to give them a 10% rebate, or we're going to tell them next time we'll do it for a different product. I mean, whatever. In every job, there's predictable things that are going to happen, And if you're in business, they've already happened to you. So you know the kind of things that are going to happen. So you work that into your show that it doesn't happen. And if it does happen, here's what we do about it. I guarantee you, most companies, there's very little that happens for the first time. It's happened already. We all know. That's why we're all skeptical. When you call an 800 number, you're skeptical that anybody's even going to answer the phone, and they ought to take that seriously. And yeah, it's easy to do. And if not, they can call you, and you can charge them to help them do it.
Yeah, well, that's right. And one other thing you could do is we have a lot of good resources to help. One of them being the Creating Magic Mastermind. We are having another one in October of 2026. We're having it in Orlando. So reach out to one of us if you're interested in that. And the reason I think of that is one of the masterminds, you may remember, Lee, we actually gave out a playbill. So it looked like you were at a Broadway show. And that was the concept, the big red curtain. As they went through the playbill, it was about the curtain's about to open, you're putting on a show, because that's the concept Lee wanted to get across to everyone at the mastermind.
It's a simple thing, and it will improve your business dramatically, but you got to do it.
Yeah, that's right. You can't just talk about it. You can't just have Lee tell you about it. You can't just have Jody Mayberry come in and train you for it. You have to actually do it.
Right. And you'll be happy you did.
You will. Yeah. All right, Lee. I've always loved this concept. I'm glad we did an episode about it. It is something that can have an impact that you can start working on tomorrow. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.